Got a little special package.
What is going on, guys and girls? It's Ghost Robo, and I am back with my most bold and beautiful unboxing in a long time. I am super pumped about what is inside this here rectangular box. You may think it's a collector's edition. You may think it's something else, but you know what it is? It's an Xbox One S, and it comes in a cozy little box, and we're gonna show it all and see what it is all about. So I will grab the knife of power and slice my way into the future of power brickless Microsoft gaming. This thing was announced at E3, and it releases today, in fact, and this is a 2 terabyte white Xbox One S. Eventually it'll be available in smaller sizes, but it is tiny. So the box here, you know, is as big as you want it to be. We'll get rid of that. But this is the actual console, and check that freaking baby out. Holy crap! It's so tiny! It's literally like, I need another box so you can see. Do I have something comparable? I'll get my other consoles later, I guess. I don't think I have any of the boxes, but this is so small. Like, there's my hand. I have small hands. 2 of my hands encase this in hugs and love. It's beautiful. It's small. You can see there the stats. 2 terabyte, 4K Ultra HD HDR video streaming, and it plays select Xbox 360 games, including the Xbox One console, vertical stand, wireless controller. It's a new wireless controller, high-speed HDMI cable, wireless networking capability, and 1-year warranty. It's a cool, back here they show off Lara, Master Chief, Marcus, and a Forza car, even though Lara's coming to the PlayStation. This is the beautiful console right here. It is so gorgeous. I had the chance to see it and look at it and touch it at E3, and it's absolutely incredible. Big thanks to Microsoft for sending me this one early so I could open it for you guys, but I would have bought it anyways. So here we go. Inside the box, once you open it up, you shall see right here, it says Xbox One. We're going back to green for a little bit. The history of the system needs a little green action. And you'll see that there's some instructions on like how to stand it up, how to plug it in, how to get it all going. I don't care about any of that. I just want to show you the goods. So in here, we've got a little tiny HDMI. Now the HDMI is different. It has different little adapter pad port things. The cord is stronger and sturdier. That's nice. And over here, we've got the power cord. Now the power cord is one of the, to me, coolest, best upgrades for the Xbox One S over the Xbox One. In terms of overall power, not a whole lot. It can do 4K streaming, it can do HDR video, and it should be able to do some HDR stuff with games as well, but no 4K gaming, don't think that. But one of the best parts is the size of the console and the fact that there is no longer a power brick. So we're going back to just a plug-and-play system like the PlayStation 4, and this nice coiled cord that makes me think of a telephone from the Fallout era. But before we uncoil that exotic mess, let's open up the controller. It's a white controller, and they've made a few small adjustments. There's grips on the back. I think a lot of these come from the Elite, so it's like basically a lesser version of the Elite, but yes, it is very nice. The middle button is a little different, the Xbox button right here, but nothing really too much. I'm also getting one of those custom controllers from like the ones that you can design yourself with your gamer tags, so we'll do a full review of that when I get that. But right now, there's a little bit of grippiness here. It's not as much as on the Elite or anything like that, but it probably is overall just, you know, the buttons are a little different. I'll show you another controller when we do our comparison, but you know, it feels amazing. The Xbox One controllers always felt good, and this is just a refinement of that. So now on to the actual super important part, the vertical stand. No, in here we should have all of our paperwork and the vertical stand right there, a nice way for us to display the system. It comes with, let's see, what do we got? Just some information here and experience the performance of Xbox Elite, telling you about the new controller, and there's a 14-day code for Xbox Live. Let's slide all that stuff out the way and grab the piece of power, the beautiful, gorgeous, super sexy, super small Xbox One S. Here it is, tiny, it's dense, but it's light, and it purrs like a kitten and looks like a mermaid. Let's open this thing up and then do the comparison after that. But here you go. It feels so good to have brand new hardware. I know it doesn't do really anything different from like, oh, a generational standpoint. We have to wait for Scorpio for that, and even then that's more of a step than a leap. But I love the design of this thing. I think it is one of the sleekest and sexiest systems ever created. They did such a nice job of really refining this down to a point where it not only is small, it not only is all nice and matte finish, instead of you know, any gloss or dumb thing like that. They made sure that they gave you a physical button here, a physical button here. They got the ports that you need on the back. You'll notice there is no connect port here, but who uses that anymore anyways? And this nice, just this interesting clash between the plain stark white and then the holy white, where the ventilation obviously is taking place, is really super, super cool. So this bad boy is amazing. We got to christen it with a kiss like we do with all of our systems. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, Xbox One S. Welcome home, baby. And it is beautiful. It is mine, and I love it. And this will, with a 2 terabyte hard drive, be the go-to system for me in the house. It's much smaller. Gotta rub all that love right off it. Make sure it doesn't deteriorate already. But I will use this as my main system. I'm currently rocking an Advanced Warfare console because it has a bigger hard drive. But this is a bigger hard drive, and it'll be great because I'm always deleting things off my Xbox One, even with that hard drive upgrade. So yes, we've got a USB port right there on the front. You'll notice underneath that little flap, hopefully you can see that. Nothing else on the front. The controller sensor is now on the front with a new button to help connect your controllers. If we rotate around to the back, you'll notice power port over here. Then you've got 2 HDMIs, the in and the television, the cable one. Next to that, 2 USB ports on the back, IR out, and then your traditional port if you've got like Astros or something. And then you've got an Ethernet port on the back there. And that is it. No connect port. Very simple and sleek. And I think in 2016, this is the exact kind of design you want, the exact kind of design that you come to expect, and the exact kind of design that Microsoft needed to deliver on for this Xbox One S. Like, no joke, sometimes slim consoles are no big deal, but this one is really impressive. And while I can't fully say, like, go out and buy a new one, if you have an opportunity to trade up or give your system to your little brother or give it to a friend or I don't know, something like that, you will be infinitely pleased with how this looks, how it holds, and just the overall form factor and aesthetic pleasure that this thing brings you. Now, I'll put it in its vertical stand before I go grab some other systems for comparison. It looks like, let's see, if we look at our documentation here, it seems like we want to slide it in with the Xbox side right here. So we want this to go here. And I'll show you. It's gonna. There's 2 little. You'll see there's 2 little slits down there that it is going to hook right into. So then that's gonna attach in there. Click, click, and boom. Now it's standing vertically. Your disk drive is there. I'll plug it in so you can hear the startup sound and all that, and see if it's any different. Grab the other consoles, and we'll get you the full breakdown of this beautiful new slimline console. Okay, so before we get to comparisons of Xbox One S versus Xbox One, Xbox One S versus PS4, and then the controllers, I just wanted to plug it in and turn it on so you could hear it. So it's a quiet startup, a nice physical button, no longer capacitive. A lot of people will like that, so in case your cat, dog, baby, brother, yourself brushes up against it, it's not an issue. And there's also a physical button for the disc eject, which makes it sound like that, like no disc. And that's in its vertical standing. And then it's a very nice, quiet, easy turn off. So now that this is all off, I will unplug it again so we have access to do what we want. Now let's take this standoff here. This should come off fairly easily, I hope. Okay, so that's off. So again, Xbox One S. Now let's hold the Xbox One. This is my Call of Duty Advanced Warfare one, and it is notably heavier. And here we go. So you can see the size difference. If we sit them on top of each other, you'll be able to really notice. I'm gonna gently set that down for no scratching. Okay, so in terms of like height, it's about half. In terms of width, it's not quite half. Now they were saying that this was whatever percentage smaller, and in theory, maybe it is if you count all the dimensions and all the whatever and this and that. But from a like length standpoint, they're not that different. Now from a height standpoint, over on this side, you can see it is about half, and then obviously here as well. This way, let's see, width, it's pretty close again. So really what they've done is they've chopped off about, I don't know, a good inch on the length and then cut the height in half. But for whatever reason, it's almost optical illusion in effect that this looks and appears and feels so much smaller than this looks and appears and feels. Maybe it's just also the ergonomics of it or the design of it or whatever, but the fact that this is so much more appealing and pleasing and easy to hold and handle, I don't know. But when you put them next to each other, you're like, it's not all that much smaller, but it is. I think the height difference really makes this feel so much chunkier. Now let's move the Xbox One out of the way. Also, the weight is nice. A nice loss for the new guy. Now here's the PS4. I picked the white one. It's my primary PS4. It's got some scratches because I use it all the time. Here's the Xbox One S. So they are, I don't know. The PS4 is definitely longer. Let's make sure you can see this. The PS4 is definitely longer. It extends out with its sort of rhombus-like shape over the Xbox One S. This way, it's also longer. You're seeing there's an extension here of about an inch. Height-wise now, this is a little interesting. The Xbox One S is still a taller system than the PlayStation 4. If I set the Xbox One S on the PlayStation 4, you can see exactly where the cuttage happens, and it's right there, mostly on the length. The height is virtually the same, although the PS4 is still a little smaller. But again, you're losing quite a bit. I don't know, 2 inches off the front there, maybe 3 once it extends out. And of course, this PS4 has capacitive buttons here. I think actually they've changed it, so some don't anymore. Anyhow, whatever. That's not that important. But it is even smaller, probably overall than the PlayStation 4, which is quite the accomplishment, because the PS4 is like the ideal travel console because of its size and weight. The Xbox One S, I think it's lighter than the PS4. The PS4 to me is a pretty light console for what it is, but it's lighter. So obviously the Wii U would be the smallest of all, but counting that in a different category, PS4 versus Xbox One and Xbox One S, the Xbox One S wins out, I think, as the smallest, lightest, and to me, coolest looking console. Now, of course, the sleek angles of the PS4 are still very nice, and sort of that dual layer look of it is kind of very sexy, even to this date. But for me, I don't know, just the pure perfection of this, I feel like it's the most futuristic. It looks the most, I don't know, to me it has an IKEA look to it, and I don't mean from a cheap standpoint, I just mean from it's gonna fit anywhere and look great standpoint. It's small, it's compact, it does what it needs to do, and it's high powered in comparison to the original. Now, again, let me clarify and make sure you know that there are no 4K games being played on this system. It is video, and then they have made HDR, some slight HDR lighting upgrades for this box versus the Xbox One box. Let's look at the controllers real quick. Again, I told you there was better grip on the back here and the difference in the buttons. I grabbed my Lunar White controller, which actually, in fact, has better grip. This has stronger grip and heavier, thicker grip than this one, but this one here has more grip than, say, a non-grip based controller like this one from Halo 5. So kind of a weird in between. You'll notice, and it's most evident on the Lunar White, you'll notice that the button, the home button has changed. On this controller it's black and white, whereas on this controller it's silver and black. Also, it's more, to me it looks a little smaller and more flush with the system. That could just be an optical illusion, but you got that going on there. Plus, the difference here, the top bar is baked into the controller. I'm not sure you can see that, but it's all part of the same mold with just a little like crevice there. Here, it feels and looks and appears to be two completely separate different pieces. Like I can stick my fingernail in there and almost pull away at that. Now the top up here still feels like it's separate. The shoulder buttons and the bumpers and the controller sync and the micro USB port still feel like they're separate, but the front of the console, the front or the controller, the front shell all seems to be one piece now instead of having sort of this little home button interjection. I don't know how I feel about that. Aesthetically, I still think I kind of like this one better than this one, but it's interesting to see where they're going. From a D-pad standpoint, the D-pad, it feels a little better. The buttons here, the options and menu button are a little bit more, you can press them more, they've got a little bit more movement to them. The sticks feel about the same. Button-wise, to me, maybe there's a difference, but if there is, it's not really noticeable. Everything else kind of the same. So again, main differences are right in this region here, and then the grip on the back, which sits in between like the Elite or the Lunar grip and a non-grip normal Xbox One controller. So there you have the beautiful new Xbox One S. Again, this is the 2TB model that comes in at $400. There's a 1TB model that comes at $349, and a 500GB model that comes in at $299. So that will be sort of their baseline console. But again, for 50 bucks or 100 bucks, you might as well grab those terabytes of space, especially if you plan on downloading or digitally purchasing a lot of your games. You're going to need the space. And even if you don't games today hog up a lot of hard drive space with their installs. That being said, this console claims to be 40% smaller than the Xbox One. We saw it as more of an optical illusion, but one that benefits the consumer, I think, because even though stacked next to it, it doesn't look 40% smaller. In usage, it feels 40% smaller. When you hold it, when you move it around, when you set it in your entertainment center, it feels like you're gaining the benefit of a 40% smaller console. It's really great that the power brick is internal and no longer a mess externally to sort of muck up your living room or your wire maze. The controller has been modified slightly, but for me, that doesn't matter a whole lot. The controller differences aren't enough to make me want to buy this. Maybe for you, 4K Blu-ray, the UHD, HDR stuff is that for you. The slight processing upgrade for HDR and gaming doesn't do it for me, and I'm not really someone who's going to be streaming a lot of 4K content. So for me, it all comes down to form factor and ease of travel. That's me personally based on my lifestyle and where I'll be using it. Now, if I already had an Xbox One and I didn't need another one, or I didn't really do this for a living, I didn't care about upgrading or traveling, I would say, you know what, you don't need it. But if you're going to buy an Xbox One, this is by far the best Xbox One to buy, and it really then looks amazing, even in comparison to the PlayStation 4, which is one of the best looking consoles of all time. They did an incredible job from the overall architecture and the overall aesthetic of this console. It's freaking gorgeous. From a functionality standpoint, still going to play all the same games, going to give you a tinge of an upgrade with that HDR lighting, and then a slight upgrade or a significant upgrade depending on your personality and your eyeballs for the 4K video streaming. That is the Xbox One S, coming in at $300, $350, and $400. This is the 2 terabyte, $400 model that will become the official Ghost Robo Xbox One. I like that it's white. I like that it looks lovely. I like that it's light. I like that it feels good and just has a really sleek, nice design while still maintaining that rectangle that Xbox has been known for all of their consoles. Now just in the most refined form factor we've ever seen. So, is it a must-buy? No. Is it a cool buy? Yes. Is it one to switch out if you have the opportunity or the option? Sure. Do you need it? No. Do you probably want it? Yes. I really like it, and I think they did a great job. So that has been the Xbox One S. Let me know what you think of it in the comments down below. Hit that thumbs up button if you had fun here today. Hope you enjoyed the video. We covered the controller, the console, all of the accessories, the power-on sound, the vertical stand, the comparison to the original Xbox One, the comparison to the PlayStation 4, and my overall thoughts. Hopefully that filled you in. Till next time, everybody, I love you. Drink so much all. Thanks again, and we will see you all later.